We judge and we're judged a lot. While we don't often realize we're judging others, we sure do notice it the moment we think they're judging us. And it's usually a big deal too to us. Typically, we react, and it's rarely pretty. And doing so while in our role as a leader can damage how we're perceived. So in today's video, I'm going to share how to powerfully shift away from this type of impaired leadership into a far more effective way of leading consciously. A way that's a lot easier on us and on those around us. So let's take a slow, deep breath, and then we'll dive in. When we feel judged, usually our first instinct is to protect ourselves. And if we outwardly react defensively, that reaction could take many forms. We can aggressively push back, like, "Hey, who the hell are you to judge me?" Or we can appear calm and try to prove that we don't deserve to be judged by trying to turn the tables on the person we think is judging us, like, "Is it really me that's in the way of reaching the goal, or might it actually be you because you keep taking Fridays and Mondays off?" Or we can stay silent, but underneath that silence is a disturbance in the force. We don't say anything, but the thought bubble above our head conveys, "God, I can't stand this person." And then we'll find ways to passive-aggressively dig at them whenever we get the chance. Each of these options negatively impact our leadership, and they're not good for us or those around us. So how do we shift out of feeling like we need to defend ourselves and risk blowing up a situation? If others' judgments throw us off balance, any reaction we have will be registered by those around us, and it rarely makes things better. As CEOs, we model behavior for our teams, and our positions place us in the spotlight for all to see. If we're often reactive when we feel judged, that will set the tone or standard for behavior in our organizations and disrupt our work. Then everyone's running around behaving like we do. Similarly, being defensive when our board of directors or a major customer judges us about something we've said or done is likely to put a strain on our relationship. In those situations where we react, we're essentially placing a higher value on how we're perceived than on what we're missioned to do in our role as leader. Let's see what's really going on in these types of situations. How we ourselves are the ones truly causing us to react when receiving input. And before I forget, it's important for our empowerment to know that this holds true, that we're the only ones truly causing ourselves to react. It's not them. So even if we're actually being judged, we're the ones responsible for the reaction. If it appears to me that a person has judged me harshly, it's not hard to perceive that as an attack if it sounds like one to me. But if we review what's happened in slow motion, we can see that there are little gremlins pinching us, causing us to react. So let's take a look at how this happens. Let's see what are the steps we take to leap into reaction. Step 1. Someone expresses something with some kind of energy, meaning, and intent. An example might be someone saying to me, "Bodhi, you don't lead well." Step 2. Our senses notice and experience those words and the energy carrying them. Now stay with me here. This is not New Age woo-woo stuff, it's physics. Our ears hear the words, which are sound vibrations. Our eyes see the look the sounds were expressed with, and our bodies feel the energy of those sound vibrations. That's all. Step 3. Our brains comprehend what's been said, the actual meaning of the words. All good so far. Step 4. Here's where things get dicey. Our minds interpret the meaning of what we've heard. Here's where we face the fork in the road. One path is to be aware that the communication is a person's perspective, which may or may not carry seeds of truth or accuracy. We can receive the input as possibly valuable information to assess and reflect upon, and we can respond thoughtfully. The other path is where our interpretation gets distorted by old residual pain of unhealed unresolved mental emotional wounds. And no matter how much work we've done on ourselves, every one of us will still have some degree of unhealed and unresolved pain. It's when we go down this path that we take what's been said personally that causes most of us to react. Clear? All right. So how do we hear people's input from a neutral space so that we don't get triggered and become reactive? What can we do so that we don't grab the things people say and interpret them through the filter of our old unhealed wounds? We've all been painfully judged in our lives, and some of those old wounds have yet to heal. But when a specific wound impairs our leadership and relationships, we really need to attend to those. There are many ways to do this without years of psychotherapy. Part of being a highly effective conscious leader is to do the work necessary to free ourselves from these old, unhelpful patterns of thought and behavior. Another area to address has to do with being more skillful when listening to what people say to us. And it has to do with the space from which we listen. We could start by recognizing that a person's view is simply their view. It's their perception. And that means what they're saying is more about them than it is about us. This would be easier to remember if everyone spoke more accurately. Instead of someone saying, "Bodhi, you don't lead well," which implies what they're saying is about Bodhi, they would say, "Bodhi, in my view, I don't think you lead well." When said that way, it's easier to tell that what they're saying has to do with me, but it's what they think, and thus really about them. When I say that it's not about me, what I mean is it's not about me as a human being. When we do make it about ourselves, that usually means we're hooking ourselves. So remember to stay mindful that people's opinions are never about the whole of us. It makes such a big difference. Now that said, it's important to not diminish the potential benefit of another person's input, just because it's their view or because they deliver it with an emotional charge unskillfully, or that it's in some way distorted by their own pain. None of those things have to mean there isn't profound or valuable truth in what they've shared. When we as conscious leaders free ourselves from unnecessarily taking feedback personally, we gain the capacity to receive their input as a welcome gift that can support our learning and our growth. Evolving in this way, we become free to lead optimally, with greater clarity and wisdom, compassion, and all of our genius. Sure, it would be ideal if all the feedback we received was gentle, thoughtful, and clear. And it's a good idea for us to remember the importance of this when we're delivering that kind of feedback to our teams as well. However it comes to us, as conscious leaders, let's have gratitude for all the insights offered us, regardless of the delivery style. One never knows what will lead to our greatest growth and evolution as a leader and as a human being. There's a lot more content on the evolvingceo.com website, as well as info on how we can connect. I'll leave a link down below so you can check it out. Lead wisely and prosper.